Folks, welcome to the Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, I want to give you an update about that New York City Council race in Harlem, as one of the members of the Exonerated Five has officially won the primary for the seat. We'll talk a little bit about that. Also, folks, we talk about India.Arie, Meg Thee Stallion, Janelle Monae, how they have reemerged the conversation about modesty and respectability for women at the Essence Festival of Culture. We'll have that discussion. Later on, we're going to talk about the opening of the African Cultural Center of Los Angeles. Checking in with two of the co-founders to give us some details about what we can expect from the center. And then later, microblogging gets bigger, with Meta announcing its new microblogging app, Threads. And guess, and you wouldn't believe how many people have already signed on to the app. So we'll have that conversation. Stay with us. It's all happening on today's edition of The Culture, right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. All right, folks, welcome to the Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. We are live today, of course, checking in from the great city of Los Angeles. Folks, I got a lot to talk about. Let me just break it down for you as we kick it off today. Let's go to the other side of the country, out of New York City, where one of the members of the Exonerated Five, formerly known as the Central Park Five, Yusef Salaam, has officially won the New York City Council primary. Take a look here, folks. I want to share with you the details. And that's our brother, Yusef Salaam. Big shout out to him. He has decided to campaign to represent Central Harlem on the city council. And according to the Associated Press, on election night, they refrained from calling the race, but additional votes released yesterday showed him to be the clear winner. Here's what brother Yusef Salaam had to say about his election night victory. Take a look at this. He said, "Many doubted us along the way." Looking at the second paragraph here. "Many doubted us along the way, but this was a campaign based on change." This is what he said after the Associated Press called the race. They said the voters overwhelmingly agreed with our vision for a better, stronger, and more tolerant community. We are going to have a new Harlem renaissance, according to his statement. Now, his outsider campaign, as it's been dubbed, prevailed over two political veterans: New York Assembly member Inez Dickens, 73 years old, and Al Taylor, 65 years old. This would be Yusef Salaam's first bid for public office. Democratic Socialist Kristen Richardson Jordan, the incumbent council member, dropped out of the race in May, but she remained on the ballot. Now, Salaam, he fell slightly below 50% of the vote in Wednesday's update, triggering the release of preliminary ranked choice voting results that showed him as the clear winner. The city's Board of Elections was still tabulating late arriving mail ballots that could potentially push him back above the 50% threshold for an election night victory. Big shout out to brother Yusef Salaam. Folks, I want y'all to check in, crew. Let me know what you think of this victory with Yusef Salaam, there, one of the members of the Exonerated Five, and how he has now decided to take all that he has learned about the experience of going through being, not only as he has, and this is a very powerful story, because this is a brother, the rigors of what we've been seeing with this criminal justice system. Here's a man, and this is something that the reports have put it out there. They call it an improbable feat for a political novice who was wrongly accused, convicted, and imprisoned as a teenager for the rape and beating of a white jogger in Central Park. Of course, he was not responsible for that horrific incident, but he felt the consequences of that. And now he is in the big seat. Most likely he's going to win the general election to be the councilman for Central Harlem in New York City. And this is a man who has a story to tell. Folks, I want y'all to join this crew. Let me know what's your take on this as we look at the changes of power, not just in New York, but across the country. And I've always said this, folks. I've always said this, that in order for us to really talking about having some real change, you need people who are from the ground level to be a part of it, to be a part of this movement we've been talking about, this growth, this change, this trend, however you want to frame it. But you need people who understand it, who have gone through it. And it's always interesting to me that we tend to like vote for people who are outside of the system, who have never been incarcerated, who have never been, who have never gone through the system, who have never gone through the adoption process and all of these. We pick people, unfortunately, that are outside of the problem, expecting them to know what to do about the problem. But the old saying is, folks, y'all know what it is, that those closest to the problem are those who are most likely to know the solution, who have the solution to that problem. And so that's the case that I think that kind of speaks to this moment here for brother Yusef Salaam. Here's a man who knew what the problem was from everything. He grew up in New York City. He understands the ins and outs. Unfortunately, he was victimized by the city, by the system. And as a result of that, that put him on a path. For years, he had tried to clear his name along with the name of his brothers that were involved in that case. And then finally, over these past few years, he's been able to rise above it. I mean, it is truly a story, a great story, a triumph for a man to go through all of that, starting from his teenage years, and then to be able to rise to the position to get into the seat. And not only is it a triumph for him personally, beautiful pictures of brother Yusef Salaam, but this is also a triumph for the people of New York, the folks of Central Harlem, and for that councilmatic district, for them to have enough faith in him to say, you know what, he's worth a try. We should give him a chance. Because who knows what type of councilman he will become. He may be one of the greatest councilmen that Central Harlem has ever got. He may be the greatest councilman that New York City has ever got. So we can't, diminish, or we can't downplay the fact that he has gone through all of these things, but he understands it firsthand knowledge, folks. He got firsthand knowledge of how the system, at least on the criminal justice side, goes. All right, let me go to you very quickly, crew, before we take our next pause. Pauline, you said, yes, we do, Farajii. Need people from the ground. Pauline Hurt, my sister, checking in as always. Pauline, you are absolutely right. We got to stop looking for people outside of the system to give us insight. Look, man, that might be just the change. Pauline, that might just be the change we need, right? You start to, if an ex-felon, quote unquote, an ex-felon decides to run for office, he's changed his life, she's changed his life, why not give him a chance? Because they know. They know what the system can do. And so again, this is a huge boost, and it's a big win. This is a big win from those who feel disenfranchised to those who have felt marginalized, those who can see a redemption story, a comeback story. This is a huge win. So big shout out, man. We want to give a big culture shout out. Hey, King, let's play some hand claps or something. Let's give a big culture shout out to our brother Yusef Salaam. There we go. There we go. A little snappy. There we go. Big shout out to brother Yusef Salaam, man. And I hope and pray that the people, that his leadership reflects the leadership that we need, that the people really respect him and they continue to push him and hold him accountable. And I hope he holds himself accountable as well. Karen, my sister, checking in from LA myself. LA too, you said Brother Salaam will be able to identify with victims, survivors, and those in the struggle. He will provide excellent legislation based on all of his experiences. That's absolutely right. And look, Some of us might say, well, it's just a city council seat. That's where the change happens. The change is always local, folks. Keep that in mind. Change is never happening on a big, massive, nationwide scale. The change happens locally. And really, when you're in a city like New York City that is such a world-class city in the sense that it attracts people, New York sets the trend. It's like Los Angeles and a couple of other cities around the country that serves as the trailblazers. What you do in New York will manifest itself all around the country, will be seen and will be felt around the country. So if he is doing his due diligence by the people of Central Harlem, if he does the work that they want him to do, and he does that work really, really well, then guess what? He's going to be an inspiration for those who have gone through the rigors of the criminal justice system, able to come out, change their lives for the better, and represent the people at a much higher level. So big shout out again to brother Yusef Salaam. Congratulations on that big win last night. All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, I want to have a conversation, talk a little bit more about the culture. Let's talk about the big conversation about modesty, respectability, what we've seen at Essence Fest when India.Arie, an artist of 25 plus years, an artist who had put out fantastic music, she kind of was very critical of the last night of the Essence Festival of Culture's big headliner, Meg Thee Stallion, as Meg put her show on display along with women. And India.Arie had a few things to say about that situation. We'll be checking in with our sister Dee Griffin, who is a journalist out of Augusta, Georgia, to talk to us a little bit about what we saw and what we are hearing about modesty, decorum, and respectability for women. So stay with us. The conversation continues with you, with Dee. And as we get back and take another quick pause, stay with us, folks. You're tuned into The Culture right here on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punching!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Let's talk a little bit about what people are discussing on social media right now. It's kind of hard to get away from this conversation I've been seeing brewing all across like various social media platforms, on Twitter, on the blogs. So everybody knows that Essence had their Festival of Culture this past weekend. It ended on, it was like a 4-day celebration of blackness, black excellence. But there were some moments there that that some people questioned as we were talking about what is the culture of Black folks. And folks, let me just put this out there very succinctly, that when we're talking about Black culture, I think we should be very clear as to what that really means. And even if we don't always know, that we should have some understanding about the conversation, even around the conversation of Black excellence. I put it out there today just before the show started. Just because you're rich and famous don't mean you're excellent. Can we at least say that? Can we say that? Just because you're rich and famous doesn't mean that you're excellent. I'm just saying. I'm seeing a lot of people having this conversation about Black excellence. I'm talking about these things. So this discussion about what's going on for our sisters, India.Arie, Meg Thee Stallion, Janelle Monae, about modesty and representation and respectability, it all falls under this whole thing. It all falls under this whole thing. So here's the story. The story is that Meg Thee Stallion performed on the last night of the festival. She was the headliner. She did some of her hot songs. Everybody knows Meg Thee Stallion is like the founder of Hot Girl Summer, right? Everybody knows that. But as part of her set, she had asked about 20 women from the audience to jump up on stage and twerk. As part of the performance. Hey, come on, girls. Get up on stage and twerk. So India.Arie, of course, being there, everybody is seeing this. This is all over the place. This is a major event. Has a few words about this demonstration. Not necessarily about Meg Thee Stallion as a person, but about this demonstration of seeing Black women on stage twerking at a festival that is supposed to be celebrating our culture and our essence and excellence. So here's what India.Arie had to say. And Keenan, if we could let's pull up that screenshot of what India said. Because she said, the issue is, what is context? Humanity does everything. But does everything belong in a stage? No. Is everything for kids? No. Is everything for everybody? No. So when we as a culture make something like this mainstream, it shows a lack of discretion and discernment. To those in the comments who laugh at anyone who want these things for our culture, you certainly have that right. Just as many folks have the right to want our mainstream international export, our music, to show us in a respectful light. I'd like to go on the record saying this won't age well, and that's my issue. I love Janelle, and I love Meg the way I love us all, and I don't like this moment. Don't bother debating me, LOL, I don't care, and I do this for 25 years. I've done this, so read, ponder, or don't. Peace. Bye. So she brings Janelle Monae into this conversation because as they were twerking, Janelle Monae gets into the vibe, and then the camera pans over to her, and she's being Janelle Monae. And so India.Arie had a problem with the fact that this is what we now call Black culture. This is what we define as Black excellence. And I want to get your take on this, crew. What do you think about this whole situation? Is India.Arie going a little bit too far? Or is this a situation where she's right in saying this? Let me bring in my sister, who is going to give us some insight on this. Her name is Dee Griffin. And my sister is a journalist. She anchors the news down in Augusta, Georgia. She's an Augusta native. She is a member of the AKA sorority, the Links Incorporated in Augusta's chapter, Jack and Jill Incorporated, Augusta's chapter, and all of that. So let me do this. Let me take a quick pause. When we come forward, we're going to have this conversation. Stay with us. It's The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Okay, we wanted to have a conversation about modesty and respectability at the Essence Festival of Culture. As India.Arie, as it's not words about Meg Thee Stallion as a person, but she just doesn't like the demonstration that we saw at the last day of the Essence Fest, where women were twerking on stage as part of a celebration of culture, excellence, and blackness. So India.Arie put out an Instagram post saying that she was not happy about this. That this is not what she was expecting at a place like Essence Festival. Let me just say this though, that if we want to have those type of conversations, I mean, we can't just look at just the artist. We got to look at the space as well. Essence is a culture, is a space where it's a celebration of a lot of different parts of the culture. It's a space where we celebrate a lot of different popular elements of the culture. So that might also play into why we saw that level of demonstration with Meg Thee Stallion and her set in this contest. So in this comment from India.Arie, I want to bring in my sister Dee Griffin. Dee Griffin is a journalist. She's an anchor down in Augusta, Georgia. And she saw all that happened, and she got some things she want to share about this whole situation. And I couldn't have this conversation by myself as a man. Dee, I know that as a man, good to see you again, sis. How you feeling?
I'm good. Good to see you again. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I can't have this conversation by myself. I can't even have it as, you know what I'm saying? I had to have a black woman because, you know, man, I understand. Like, I could be all Mr. Pro-feminine. No, Farajii, you're a black man.
Right.
You have no right.
I don't want everybody to come after me, so I'm not going to put it that strongly of no right, but it's
I'm glad. Thank you. I appreciate that. But Dee, talk to me. What is this conversation? I mean, India didn't say that Meg was a terrible artist. She just didn't like this level of this demonstration.
Right.
Like, she didn't really, I don't think it would have gotten to this point, say, if Meg Thee Stallion never invited those 20 black women up on stage. But what do you see in this situation?
Well, I mean, I'm sort of on the fence because Sister India.Arie is the woman who said, I'm not about my hair. She talked about individuality and being proud of yourself and doing your own thing per se. However, Megan Thee Stallion became famous off of this. This is how she, you know, yada body yada, you know, this is how she became famous, and she's showing the liberation of women, the freedom to do what you want, and to be proud of your own voice, your body, to be proud of who you are. So it's a weird dichotomy there, because, you know, I'm sort of on the fence, like, girl, that's a lot of shaking going on. And if I had some good knees, I might have been up there myself. You know, years of running marathons and stuff, you know, my knees are not that good, but you know, some good knees, I might try to get up there and body yada myself. I was shocked when Janelle Monae pulled up her bra.
Right, showing her breasts.
Now, we give a pass, or we give courtesy to Janelle Monae, but when my girl Janet, when that happened to her years ago, Janet was crucified. Crucified. And I'm like, Janet's like my best friend in my head. I love me some Janet. We girls, we go way back, Penny, you know? And so I just hate that, you know, Janet was crucified over this, but other women can do it. And I'm not taking anything away from Janelle Monae. She's a gorgeous woman. You know, she lifted her shirt, and I was shocked to see the video. I was like, whoa. But this is expression. This is what we're living with now. You know, women are free to do what they want with their bodies. You know, Black Twitter went in on Keke Palmer's boyfriend.
Yeah, see, we want to see. I knew you were going to bring that up, D. I knew that, right? And I'm gonna have that conversation tomorrow. Actually, I was like, all right, that's too much. That's getting too much, right? We ain't got enough time to.
We ain't got enough time because old boy was home watching the baby, and he was he was in his feelings because she's out here showing her butt cheeks, and he's at home cleaning up poop. You know, so he had a problem with it. But the thing is, I mean, this is how these women became famous. So why now must we pull them back and rein them in? Megan has shown her twerking abilities since day one. She has shown them thick thighs since day one. And I'm here because I'm thick thighed too. So I'm with it. But we can't all of a sudden say, sis, we're proud of you, your music, you're liberating, you're doing this and that. But hey, we got to stop you. You can't go this far with it. You know, we've got to understand that this is how they came. You know, this is how they've always been. And Janelle Monae has always expressed her freedom of expression. So why are we so shocked now?
So I always wanted to know, though, D, because I've heard women say that this is a form of empowerment. But is it really a form of empowerment? Like this is a public display. This is not like you're in your intimate relationship or relationship with a man, and he's, you know, you are feeling comfortable in your skin in those moments of intimacy and things like that. Like I'm trying to understand what is the empowerment? Is the empowerment that you accept your body, and can that be done in a way where you don't feel like it becomes this other thing, right? Because when empowerment is an internal process, it's not just an external process. But I think it's like in our culture, that's always been a part of the. If you look at the 50 years of hip hop, unfortunately, Black women have been put in that space of being sexy, and always been, their body is first, their mind is second or third. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So what's the empowerment part? I'm asking that seriously and from a humble space. Like, what is the empowerment part? Especially if, like you said, this is always what you do. You came on the scene twerking.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Is it empowerment in the industry or empowerment in the world? Because artists can say this is empowerment because I can do this as an artist. But when we get into everyday life and little old me who works, a regular job, is that empowerment or is it just expression? There's a difference. There becomes the difference between empowerment and just expression. I want to be a baddie and I want to dress like this. Whereas it's empowerment in the entertainment industry because women are now able to express themselves on a different level and be accepted. Whereas Janet Jackson couldn't do that 20 years ago, but now women are empowered to do that in entertainment. Now, for everyday person, it's just about expression. I don't think it's empowerment, it's expression.
So when does it cross a line of like, when does it fall into the category of being a part of the male gaze? When does it fall in the category of like it comes from empowerment to now you're actually playing into the hands of men who run an industry who want to keep Black women naked?
There's a fine line there too.
Fine line.
There's a fine line because and then we go into the next question. The men who want to keep women naked so that they can make money,
right?
Do they want their women to be naked? At home, it's okay, but when they walk out of the house, their women are not walking around ass out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's a fine line there. What do we? The men think it's okay because the other women are doing it, but when their woman or their daughter does it, then all bets off.
Okay, so that leads me to my next question. Then I know we gotta take a quick pause, but the next question is, if this is empowerment, do you teach this to your daughters?
No. I mean, if the daughters learn it on their own, then that's a different thing, I'm sure. But also that brings in, at what age does it become not acceptable? Are we speaking like the old aunties because we say it's against the rules or it's shameful or we need to put some clothes on? Versus the 20-something, 30-something year old women who are free to show whatever they want. You know what I mean?
Right. Look, I got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, Dee is going to be with us for a few more moments. And crew, I want to get your take on this. So many of you are checking in to share your thoughts about this whole conversation about modesty, respectability, and what it means to be an empowered woman, based on this big conversation between India.Arie, Meg Thee Stallion, and Janelle Monae, who just loves to lift up her shirt. And let's have a conversation about the culture. Is this good for the culture?
You know you liked it.
You know what? Actually, and I mean, with all due respect, I love all three of the sisters. Mm-hmm. It's getting old though.
We're getting old, or it's getting old.
Well, let me just say that I'm getting old, okay. But I think that this is getting old. I think this is more of a manufactured sense of empowerment about the culture. If you're talking about empowerment, then you don't play into the hands of a people or into the hands of an idea or into the hands of an expression that really diminishes you over time. And I think I would go with India.Arie that this doesn't age well. Like if you want people
it doesn't age well.
It doesn't age well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to be empowering, it should last the test of time, right?
And you're always going to be trying to do the next best thing to get the more attention from the last time, more than you're always climbing to do what next? Open our legs and just let everybody.
And see, that's the thing. Like, so now you gotta up one. You gotta go up the next level. And it's like, oh, okay. So instead of the sheer, let's pull out just a thong and let's perform in the thong.
But I mean, again, we started off. Meg Thee Stallion became famous because of twerking, and because you could do that. So at what point do we say, "Up, sis, you can't do that anymore"? I mean, we got to, we have to be careful here because we put her on this platform and we gave her this exposure.
That's true.
And at what point do we say, break? Nope, can't go this far,
That's true.
That's the problem is that, how can we set someone forward and elevate them and say they're wonderful, they're beautiful, what they're doing is great, it's freeing, but only at this level. You got to stop here. You can't take it to the next level.
Absolutely. Let me take a quick pause. More with D. Griffin and you folks. Stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. We've been talking to Miss D. Griffin, who is a journalist and anchor out of Augusta, Georgia, and she's here to talk to us a little bit about India.Arie, Meg Thee Stallion, Janelle Monae, and a conversation about modesty and respectability at the Essence Fest. As India.Arie has launched some thoughts about what she saw from the set that Meg Thee Stallion did at the Essence Fest, and it's just bringing back to the forefront the conversation about women, the use of the bodies, modesty, empowerment, all of those things. And essentially, is this good for the culture? So, D, I want to just share highlight some of the culture crew, because folks are going in a lot. I got a lot of black women, D, who tune into the show, and I'm forever grateful to the sisters. Because y'all stay with a brother, man. Y'all will ride with us till the wheels fall off. So big shout out to all of the ladies of the culture crew. All right, Pauline, you said I agree with India, talking about that this needs to be examined, and we need to ask the question, is this really good for the culture? So we'll have, and I agree with you on that one, Pauline. I think that it's okay if we bring up certain things. It is okay. Let me go back to hear what you got to say. You are not a victim. You said that has been the culture for a while now amongst the young people and some of the old. Yeah. So you're talking about the generational gap there. You're not a victim, which I think is true, right? It becomes this generational thing where twerking is more acceptable now than it has been, like you mentioned, D, 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't see Janet Jackson doing that. But times have changed. Tiana, another sister who's always been a part of the crew, she said the twerking is getting old for real. It's getting old. Real Brooklyn, you checked in and said, who would ever think that folks who have made it and living the life that most of us dream about will get into it about some trivial BS? Go figure. Well, it is interesting. That's why part of what I said, I tweeted out earlier today, D, just because you're rich and famous doesn't mean you're excellent.
Right.
I think that somewhere along the line, like that distinction just got blurry. We like, oh my God. Like I saw everybody like pumping up this July 4th party that the white party.
Yeah.
That everybody talking about, oh man, look at them and they black excellence.
Stephen A. Smith said he wasn't invited. Stephen A. said he wasn't invited. Why didn't he get
Stephen A. wasn't invited. I wasn't invited. All these people. And this is like, that doesn't make you a good human being.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be in those spaces or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's this expectation is getting so unreal that it takes away from the humanity. And I think that's the part of it, right? Like, when we're talking about the woman's body has been commercialized and commodified in such a way that it's hard to distinguish what is empowerment versus what is a tool.
And what's too far. Because
what's too far?
Right, we want the empowerment, but what's too far? And who is the gatekeeper to tell us what is too far? That's the big question: is who gets to determine what is too far and what's good and what's not? That's where we really need to figure out. Because the question becomes: it's okay for an entertainer to get on stage and do it, but when our daughters get to get up there and twerk, then it's a problem, or the wife or the girlfriend is up there,
or the mom,
because I don't want to see my mom twerking. No, thank you. No, thank you. And my son, I have a 12-year-old son, and if I even think about even trying, I mean, me coming out of the house with one shoulder, he's looking like, where are you going? Who's going to be there? What are you doing? And so, God forbid I get up and try to, twerk in front of a bunch of people. But the gatekeepers, who's in charge to say what's right or what's wrong? That's a big question. And how do we stop it? If it's such a problem, has the horse left the gate? Who's going to stop it?
But here's the thing. Janelle, my sister, you checked in, you said, stop policing women. As long as men can tell us who we are or call us out of our names, we're supposed to shush and be modest about who black men empower us to be. Miss me with the patriarchy. Well, that's why I didn't want to have this conversation by myself, because I don't want to come across as being policing women. But I still see it as a problem when other women call out other women. We get mad at each other. I see sisters getting mad at sisters.
Mm-hmm. This was the conversation started because a woman was saying that there's a problem with what took place at Essence Fest on stage. So it wasn't a man calling it out. It started with India.Arie calling it out, and she's a woman. So it's not about men in this point, but I get you. I totally understand men don't have a right to call us out. Also, if men are going to call us out, then they don't have a right to celebrate other women who do it and pay and make it rain on women who do it if they're going to call out the rest of us.
So what is something that we can take from this, D, as we look at this? Because this is an ongoing conversation. I think there was a lot of people really got disrespectful to India.Arie and was saying, "Oh, she's old. You need to." I saw one tweet. Somebody said, "Oh, you need to go back to chanting and saying saying." I mean, they just went in on the system. Well, I'm like, damn.
And again, they're putting her in a box, just like just like everyone. Everybody's been put in a box, and we're going to tell you when we're comfortable with what you're doing and what you're saying. It's all not fair. None of it's fair. None of it's fair.
So is there a way that we can hear each other in this conversation without making each other feel less than or diminishing what we could possibly bring to the culture? Is there a way to do that?
I think so. And India.Arie did that because she said, this is not going to age well. You know, she put her feelings out there, but she also said, I know I'm going to get all the clapbacks. That's the only way to handle it, because there is no right or wrong. There is no right or wrong.
And I mean, here's the other thing. People say, well, why didn't Meg do that? But let me ask y'all a question.
Why wouldn't Meg?
Do you think that Essence didn't know that this may happen?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they posted the videos. I love me some Essence. I love Essence Communications. They posted a video. So, I mean,
obviously you wanted somebody to see it.
I mean,
obviously you wanted someone to see it.
Yeah, and I think that this will all blow over in another day or two. We will be talking about something else, you know, the Twitter versus Thread fight. You know, it will blow over definitely, but it's a great conversation that must be had, and we will have it again. You know, like I said, you know, Kiki's baby daddy, same thing. How can he tell her what to wear when you knew how she dressed when you all met? You know, when you started dating. So now you want to all of a sudden, you know, patrol what she wears and police what she wears. I mean,
good luck, bro.
Right, good luck.
All I can say is good luck.
Right, and Meg came out the gate twerking. That's how we fell in love with her, you know, up there, you know, twerking and showing us how to do it. So why now is there a problem?
I think it's just because, you know, I think there is a growing, and I know we got to wrap up, but I know that there's a growing desire for people to see more from Black culture. Like Black culture, and I'm saying this in a very like current moment, Black culture has become this very shiny, glossy, Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? Like when we think of Black culture, we only talk about entertainment and sports. That's it. We don't think about Black doctors and Black engineers. There's such a taint on
we don't think about the mind. We think about the body and what the
we
body.
just think about the body, right?
Yeah,
we think about what you can do with the body, how you can show the body, right? But that becomes the essence of Black culture. But everything that Black people do, if you look at now, if you're a doctor, you gotta be like the Black doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're an engineer, you gotta have this Hollywood glow. Like I'm an engineer. Like these are roles that are behind the scenes,
right?
You know, make the impact on people's lives. Now with the Hollywood taint of everything that we do, and I'll never forget. And this is no shade on the First Lady because I love the First Lady, but when she was asked the question years ago, who would you be? Who would you love to be if you had a choice to be? This is why she was in office. She said, "I would love to be Beyonce."
Oh yeah. Well, also, you got to remember, too, at that time, she was raising 2 young Black teens, you know, so that's who they saw and that's who they glamorized. So, you know, in her house.
But their mother is brilliant.
Well, brilliance doesn't necessarily see brilliance. She was probably like, look, I got to go get my hair done. I got to go get these girls. I got to, you know, yeah, my husband's the president, but he off being president somewhere. I got to take care of this household. And these children need to get their homework done. And then they got to eat and I got to feed them. And then I got to go do this. And I got to be first lady. This is some real life stuff. So that's what she was probably saying. And she knew Beyonce at the time. And she knew Beyonce was fabulous. And her girls looked up to her because our children don't look up to us. Our children are like, you embarrass me. Oh, you're sickening. You're so annoying. So in her mind, she was probably like, I wish my children would like me, like Beyonce.
Beyonce, yeah, that makes sense.
Probably the source.
That makes sense. That totally makes sense.
The whole glamorization of, like you said, Hollywood and TV. I remember the show The Doctors. Here you have all these brilliant minds, but now they're on TV and they're Hollywood. And you no longer have the doctors who are just saving lives anymore. Everybody wants to be on TikTok and everybody wants to be on YouTube and everybody wants to, you know, it's just about being seen now. It's that's the way it is. And if an artist who has been on the scene for twerking gets out at Essence Fest and twerks, that's her craft and that's what she's going to do. And I don't think you expect anything less. she's a brilliant woman. Meg has a degree. She's, smart woman, beautiful woman, but we can't expect less from her. Why dim her light? Because this is what she's been doing. This is what she's known to do. Instead, teach your kids, that's not necessarily what mommy wants you to do. I know it's a weird dichotomy there, but that's what we have to, how we have to view this. It's not fair.
I'm going to let you have that last word because I don't want to mess up no train of thought of what you just put out there. Mm-hmm. I think you're absolutely right, D. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to just be like, you know what? That's a great analysis.
And every generation has had it. You remember when we thought Lil' Kim was out there, but I love Lil' Kim, but my mom was like, Lil who? What is she wearing? And Beyonce, people have questioned what she's wearing and what she's doing. And so it's just every generation. We just have to learn to accept and draw the fine line for our children, what we want to model for them, and not make the role models the women on stage, make the role models the women in the home.
That's absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I think that the only thing I would add to your analysis is that I think that women tend to see themselves as less powerful, right? And I think a part of that is coming from the toxic thinking of coming from men, right? And what we impose on women. But a lot of sisters struggle and suffer from seeing themselves at less than, right? They can't see themselves beyond the beauty of their body.
Yep.
And it still means that we got a lot of work to do, D, for the culture, for the culture and for our people's longevity, because you can't build strong families, a strong community. You can't talk about none of that if you don't see yourself as being a woman of that level of substance.
We have to stop allowing the entertainers set the stage and the gauge for us for as far as beauty, what's good, what's right, what's wrong. We have to take that back, and we have to teach our girls ourselves, girls and boys, what is right, what's wrong. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And guess what? Teaching them boys.
Yes.
Because I'm teaching my 10-year-old son. No, sir. No, sir.
I have a 12-year-old. Doing my best. I'm a single mom, but I'm blessed to have some strong Black men and just men in general who are, stepping up, and they're trying to help him. And God daddies galore and God daddies rule.
It is. That is. My sister D. Griffin, always a pleasure to talk to you, D. Thank you so much for your time today. I know you got to jump on your newscast, so keep on the great work that you do. But thank you for being with us.
Thank you. I found a closet to come in. I've never come in here before, so next time I'll find a better spot to talk. Yeah, y'all have a great day.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's continue to talk about the culture. I'm going to be checking in with the co-founders of a major cultural center, the African Cultural Center, that is going to be opening here in Los Angeles. We're going to be checking in with the co-founders in a few moments. So stay with us. That conversation is up next here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate Black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear. Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. If you missed the first couple of conversations that we just had, make sure you do your due diligence. Go back to us. Go back and be a part of Team Replay. And check us out at blackstarnetwork.com, blackstarnetwork.com to get those dope conversations. All right, let me go jump into the next discussion, which continues the conversation about culture. I'm very, very excited to be checking in with these two dynamic folks that, as we talk about the opening of the African Cultural Center of Los Angeles. Yes, folks, it is coming to Los Angeles, and it is a huge center that's going to redefine the conversation about our history, our blackness, and certainly our culture. So I'm happy to have joining us with us today, Brother Walter Mboke and Folshed Sade Balogun. And I'm hoping I'm saying their names correctly. If not, they can always correct me, as I want to make sure that I do right by them. So I want to welcome Brother Walter and Sister Folshed to the culture here on the Black Star Network. Peace, family. How y'all feeling this afternoon?
We're good, man. Nice to be talking to you, Tariq.
Thank you. And I thank you for your patience as we are having these conversations. First and foremost, Brother Walter, let's talk a little bit about this opening of the African Cultural Center of Los Angeles. What is this all about, dear brother?
Well, we felt that it's been a long time coming. I've been a native of Los Angeles for almost 25 years now. I'm originally from West Africa. I think, when you talk in our communities, there's a lot of people who always want to associate, Africans from being different from one another, but for us, I think there is not a whole lot of difference between African Americans, Native Americans, Latino Americans, or I think if you remember the song by Bob Marley a few years ago that says, as long as you're a black man, you're African, So we felt there's a need for us to be able to have a center that was going to allow us to be able to define who we are so that we don't allow our community or society to define who we are. So that's why we wanted to set up a center like this that will be able to start the conversation and in a way kind of bring all of us together.
And that's exactly what I think, Sister Folshed, that this center will do. It will bring a lot of people together, especially, I'm here in Los Angeles as well, so I'm very excited to come out and to check out the center. But one thing, as I relocated from the East Coast, is to see this level of history, to see this level of blackness that's going to be put on display. Talk to us a little bit more about that, dear sister.
Yeah, it's thank you for having us on this show. We're so excited. It's about bringing all the Black folks together, whether you're an Latino or Black American or Africa. It's just to let you know that as long as you're Black, you're Africa, so you're Black. So this is just an avenue for all of us to be together to celebrate our roots, our culture, our heritage, and to know our value.
And can we talk about, I think one of the things that has separated us is the fact that we tend to believe that some of us, we don't understand the importance and the value of making the connection with our people in this part of the world and to our people that are across the waters in the continent, that some people still don't see the importance of that. Can we talk a little bit about that, Sister Foshad? Like how important is that for real, for the culture and for the progress of Black people globally?
I think for me personally, the information that's been put out there, it's not really information that we have authorized people to put out there. I think people, the media or mainstream media put out this information so that they can discredit a lot of the things that Africans, especially the ones in diaspora, have done, even the ones that live here, all the challenges they went through over the years and decades to be where they are. You were talking in your last segment about how, people behave a certain way. They need to start maybe checking themselves before people, or actually media, start checking them. But for me personally, I really believe once you start to celebrate the things that we have done and accomplished and our contributions in our society, once the mainstream media and people begin to see a lot of these things, then they'll begin to respect you for who you are and what you stand for. So I think this center would not only enlighten people who don't know us, but also it will allow us to be able to let each other know that we are all one. We need to be working collectively to be able to uplift our community.
Absolutely. Brother Walter and Sister Foshad, I want to take a quick break, but when we come forward, I want us to get some more details about what this center entails, and also give our chance for our culture crew to chime in on the conversation as we're talking about the opening of the African Cultural Center of Los Angeles. Folks, join us in the conversation right now. Post your comments on our YouTube page that's under Roland Martin, and continue to join the conversation as we talk about the importance of this center. Stay tuned. We still got a lot more to cover here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Today, we've been chatting with two co-founders of the newly opened African Cultural Center of Los Angeles. And take a look at this website right there, folks. It's a beautiful, beautiful display of African culture and connecting the dots with our people in this side of the globe with our brothers and sisters on the continent. And this cultural center will be a highlight of not just the art, the history, but it'll also be a way for us to connect with our brothers and sisters across the water. I'm joined by Brother Walter Mboke and Sister Foshad Sade Balogun, who serves as co-founders of this fantastic center that's going to be that's here in LA. Brother Walter, what's the talk to us about where the center is located? What are the times? Because I want to make sure we put that out there at this point in the conversation.
Currently, we have a satellite office here in LA, but we're looking to have a main center located close to the Crenshaw or the La Tejera area. That's where our main focus on building will be located. We're still working on some logistics right now with the city. Once that is approved and done, we'll let it known to everyone.
That's awesome. And I want to put it out there, Brother Walter, that make sure that Black Star Network is one of the first places that you come to let us know how this whole thing is unfolding, because so many of our watchers and supporters have been they are well familiar with African culture, African history, and they love to learn this this part of our history. So that is awesome to hear. Let me go to a couple of the comments from our culture crew around this situation as folks are checking in. Let me see here. I saw my man Willie Frazier. Willie, you said thanks for the work you're doing for the diaspora. His question is, what do you think we can do as Africans to uplift our accomplishments more to each other? That's a great question, Willie. Thank you, big bro. What do you think we can do as Africans to uplift our accomplishments more to each other? Sister Folshad or Brother Walter, any one of you can speak to that.
I want to say it's by supporting each other.
It's supporting each other.
Yes, it's very important that we support each other in everything we're doing, because we're just one. And you see, let me tell you something. Even the white folks are interested in our heritage. They're interested in our culture.
And what kind of feedback do you normally get from white patrons and white supporters?
Oh wow, a lot. Especially when we put on our our outfits. They're like, oh wow, this is beautiful. Where can I get it? And all that. They are really interested in our culture. They really want to identify with us. So that's why we just have to be proud of ourselves.
Brother Walter, what's your? And I love that. And thank you so much, sis, for that answer. What's your answer, Brother Walter?
Well, when people don't know certain things, they want to learn, especially the intelligent ones. You're not going to group everybody who is ignorant, especially the ones that mistreat other people just because you're different from them. When you travel all over the world, people are intrigued by people who are a little different from them. But one of the other ways we think we can maybe help each other is by us celebrating our achievements. Not only when you see people in entertainment or musicians or actors, there are a lot of folks who are Africans and African Americans, Blacks, who are doing great things and are excelling in the areas of medicine, philanthropy, helping other people, elevate other people. I think when others like them see what these folks are doing and see how their actions and behaviors and contributions are uplifting other people, they also want to do the same thing. I think we have to also try and celebrate ourselves as much as possible, not only during Juneteenth or Black History Month, but we have to have an avenue where we can celebrate the things and the achievements we've been able to over the years accomplish. That's how we can also encourage and uplift one another.
Absolutely. Here's another question, because you're talking about learning about each other's culture, Brother Walter. One of the questions that we have is that your launch had Native American tribes present. Talk to us about the role do you see that indigenous tribes have in the African Center?
Civilization, if you go back to, Native Americans were the ones that were on this land before any other person showed up, regardless of what any person can tell you. So Native Americans, Latino Americans, indigenous people, they're all part of the African, culture. So that's why we wanted to have, this is not exclusive of just African Americans or just Africans in diaspora. We don't want to exclude anybody. We want to be inclusive. That is how we can learn, teach, and enlighten people who don't know anything about our culture and what we believe and what we stand for.
Sister Folshad, I want to get your take on that, because you are a recognized leader in both the fashion and advocacy movements in Nigeria. So for you to be here in Los Angeles, opening up such an esteemed center, talk to us about that journey for you personally.
Well, I'm going to say that it's very, very interesting because I started by whatever I wear, I make sure that I wear African clothes. And from the airport, a lot of people stop me to ask me, where is it from? A lot. And from there, I knew that a lot of people are interested in our heritage and our culture. Like Walter said, it's all about we celebrating ourselves, because if we don't celebrate ourselves, nobody is going to celebrate us. So we have to, so BHLA, that is Black History and Lifestyle Awards, and ACCLA, African Cultural Center, is all about celebrating each other, celebrating our roots, our culture, our value, ourselves. And it's all about our identifying with our people, helping the Black-owned business to, creating a ring network for the Black-owned business, to be together, to exchange ideas, and it's also to help people to look at what we're wearing, like, the Ankara, the India.Arie. If you look at what is in vogue right now, you see a lot of our celebrities wearing all these African wares.
Yeah.
Even the other day, Beyonce wore something like, if you look at the video that Beyonce did, the dark skin girl or brown skin girl, I'm not too sure.
Right.
We went straight, it was back straight to Nigeria, to our roots. You saw her tying the gele, you saw her tying, the wrapper. That tells you something that, look here, Africa and America, Black is Black. We're just one. It's just the way, it's just the language that is just the different. Everything, it's one. We're all one, So to LA, we're looking forward to promoting businesses, the Black-owned business, in LA, where we'll have this fashion designing, all this African wares and all that. It's going to be very interesting.
So and I know we got to take another pause, but I'm wondering, how do we make sure, and as I'm listening to you, sis, I know that we are in a culture where everything is a commercial, everything becomes a commodity, everything becomes a brand. How do we make sure that the history, the fashion, all of these things that you bring to the table, that our people from across the continent bring to the table, is not commercialized and commodified, and it loses its authenticity once it gets here into Los Angeles or some other parts of the United States? How do we preserve that?
That's an odd question, because we have our brothers, the China. They're always, replicating things, especially everything is business for them. But we'll try as much as possible to make sure that when they see the original, and they would know that it's original. That question, I cannot say this is how it's going to be. But we'll make sure that we have our trademark and everything in it to make sure that this is the original wares or original materials, But you see, as far as I'm concerned, the Chinese people, they say everything as business. So you can't rule that out, But we'll try as much as possible to make sure that we have the original ones in LA.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
Thank
Look,
you.
I gotta take a quick pause, Brother Walter, Sister Farajii. When we get back, I want to get a little bit more details, because I really want people to understand that this is not just a center that is created on its own. There are other spaces around the country that is doing this work of highlighting African culture, helping to connect the dots between Africans, African Americans, Latinos, Native Americans. But there is still something very special about this center and historic. So I want us to continue the conversation on the other side. Folks, post your comments, share your thoughts as we have this discussion about the African Cultural Center of Los Angeles that is opening here in the great city of LA. So if you wanted to get more information, make sure y'all go onto the website. And I want to throw this out there very quickly. Go to the website today, folks, because y'all won't be disappointed. Go to the website today, and you will see what this African Cultural Center of LA has to offer. We got to take another quick pause. When we come back, more conversation. Stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punching!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Hey, Black, I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. We've been having a fantastic conversation about the opening of the African Cultural Center of Los Angeles. And I'm talking to two co-founders of the center, Brother Walter Mboke and Sister Fosha Sade Balogun, to talk to us about what this center is all about, what it entails, and more details as we're looking at having a center that really speaks to our history, African history, that speaks to the vast history of the relationship between African, Latinos, and Native Americans. I mean, this is an historic center. Brother Walter, I want to get your take on this because we know that there are a lot of spaces that are popping up and who have already been established around the country for African history, African American history. But this one is different in historic in its scope. Talk to us a little bit about what does this space do in terms of setting a new standard for how we are taking in that information in history.
Well, I know there's a lot of spaces like this all across the country, places like DC, New York, Chicago. Well, one of the things that we're going to do a little different here and that we want to highlight, apart from enlightening people and teaching people about our culture and heritage, we're also going to be able to showcase some of the achievements in terms of, sharing with folks how to, learn and empower themselves. One of the things we're looking to do is showcase our food, not only food from one part of Africa or West Africa, but all of Africa, so that people will begin to be able to taste and enjoy our food. We're going to be able to also teach kids, how to do certain skills like tie-dye, braiding, things like that, where they can actually go out into the world and empower themselves to the point where they can actually earn a living having these skills. There's also going to be, as a part of the center, we should be showcasing and premiering a lot of some of the movies that we're going to be doing here. We're hoping to collaborate with some of the American actors and some of the Nigerian actors and African actors and entertainers. So there's going to be a lot of these things that we're going to be doing a lot differently to be able to showcase the things that we're doing. And this would allow us to be able to, like I said earlier, uplift one another once people see what we're doing.
That sounds powerful, Brother Walter. And I love it because it shows that there is so much to our history, right? Like it's not just one thing, like our struggle, our history as from the continent to this part of the world to any other part of the globe, it's all interconnected. And I think that has been one of the major blocks or obstacles for our people to really get over it, is that we don't see the connection between us and the rest of the world, us and other people. So, I think that having a space like that will open up the conversation to say, you know what, no, we're actually a global people. We're not a local people. We're a global people, right? And I think that's important for so many levels, because white supremacy will make you feel like you are some small time. And we're not small time when you look at it on the global scale. There are more darker skinned people on the earth than any other people in existence. And it's not to say this is not some superiority stuff, but this is the actual truth that there's so many people, there have been so many nations, there have been so much history that comes out of the African diaspora. And I think that's important for us to understand. Sister Folshot, what's your take on that?
Absolutely. I quite agree with all you have said. And, it's beyond the people, the white folks seeing us, because they see the way I think right now their perspective is different from the way they see us before. But I still want to say that for the people that still has this slavery and all that, in their head, with this with this African Cultural Center, that it's going to open a lot of their eyes, because they're going to see that behind that black, there are a lot of things that they can benefit from us, because when they walk in there from the gate to once they walk in from the entrance, they will see that, oh wow, this is beyond this is beyond slavery, this is beyond racism, this is beyond a lot of things, So for me, I think it's going to be an eye-opener to a lot of things. And this particular one we're having in LA is very different from all the all the cultural center that you have been to or you have seen, because there are a lot of things that is going to be in there. If you want anything from Africa, you don't need to travel to Africa to get it. Once you are in that cultural center, you will get it. I promise you, we are going to have, it's like having all the African things, all the African artifacts, materials, everything in one place in LA. The food, everything you can think of, everything that identifies Africa, it's going to be in one place.
Absolutely, absolutely. Here's a question from one of our culture crew members. They want to know about the language, and to make sure I'm putting this out there. Talking about, this is YT4ME57, YT4ME57, language courses. We need language courses like Swahili. Is that a part of the conversation to have, a program about the language courses, Sister Folshot? I see you shaking your head. Yes.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about that. How do you plan to implement that part of the program?
You know, we're going to have people that will come in and teach them. And I think what I forgot to say, we're going to have a library that will have all the African countries' languages in one place. We're going to have you know, if you want to learn about each culture, let's say South Africa, Ethiopian, Ghana, name it, you're going to see it in that library. And we will have some teachers that would be teaching them how to speak. If you have a child that you want that child to learn about where your origin, where you are from, African Cultural Center, LA is the right place.
Wow. Real Brooklyn, my language, my culture crew member, Real Brooklyn, he said, great point about language. I really feel like teaching African languages will be a monumental jump to the betterment for the descendants of Africans. I would agree with that as well, Real Brooklyn. Brother Walter, how important is learning that language? You also talked about food. We know that there are 54 countries in the continent. The food, the language, if you're going to have that representation of language in the libraries, should we expect some level of representation of food as well?
Of course. We have to. Like I said earlier, we're not going to exclude any parts of Africa. We're not going to exclude any person that, you know, wants to come and share. You know, part of the whole reason behind this center is one, to teach, to be able to share with people who don't look like us and don't know a whole lot about us. You know, I think when we are able to do this, let's face it, when somebody doesn't know anything about you, it's absolutely difficult for them to be able to respect you. They don't know anything about your culture. It's going to be hard for them not to disrespect you. You know, so in doing these things, in bringing them closer to us, I think you allow them to be able to learn more about who we are. When they learn about our culture, then they will know, okay, we are actually people. We have feelings. We have ideas. We are doing things. And hopefully the idea is for them to be able to start respecting us to the point where they will see us as equals and not be threatened by our existence.
It's an act of revolution. That's what I'm hearing from you, Brother Walter.
It could be. It could well be. You know, what better place to start something like this in LA? You know.
Right. And that's the one thing I'm learning about being in the city is that there's so many different cultures, right? And there's so many different people, and in Los Angeles, of course, attracts people from all around the world. And so this is like the perfect space to have a conversation about culture. I was doing some research and they said that the number one reason why people move to California, in spite of the cost of living here, because this is expensive as hell. So what you think?
It's all relative. I mean, it's expensive, but you have, look, one of the things I was in Austin a few weeks ago, and people were like, "Oh my God, it's so expensive in LA." Yes, it is expensive, but you have jobs, you have people you can relate to, you can, you know, it's not, so that's why people come out here.
Right, and that's the point I was going to make, Big Brother, was that the number one reason that people move to Los Angeles and to California is because of the diversity. There's so many different groups of people that are in one place that you don't get to see in a lot of other places, maybe like in New York or something else, another world-class city. But there are not a lot of places, like a lot of our cities, especially the places that Black folks reside, we tend to reside around other Black folks that are from the same area, that are from the same cultural spaces, instead of being in a space where we're living next to a Latino, we're across the street from a brother from Cameroon. We go to the store and we get something from the man, a man from Israel or Palestine. You know, you're getting all of these different things. And I think that when we're talking about the big picture of exposing children, especially Black children, to this level of history, this level of cultural culture, it makes a world of difference. Children don't see themselves as being local citizens. They see themselves as global citizens. Go ahead, Brother Walter. What's your take, big brother?
I think that's, I started traveling when I was probably 16 years old without my parents and all that, and I got to the States when I was about 17 and a half, and at that time, I'll tell you this, I sit on a lot of boards today because of the goodness of strangers that I met along the way. Not because of these people. And I tell you, a lot of them, I didn't know them from anywhere, and they didn't know me from anywhere. And a lot of these guys were like, not even like me. They were white folks, black folks, Latinos, people I meet in my day-to-day business dealings who are very accommodating. So I think one of the drive to be able to put up start a center like this was the ability for us to be able to reach a lot of people, teach a lot of people, and also make a difference in our communities directly that would impact kids and people who are not even like us. So that's one of the driving forces that's, making it possible for us to do these things. Because, hey, we cannot expect the federal government, state government, or local government to do everything. They can't. It's really up to us to be able to empower ourselves, to be able to look at ourselves and say, okay, what can we do collectively to be able to make a difference?
Absolutely. I got one last question from one of our Culture Crew members, Real Brooklyn. You said, Farajii, what if we prioritize opening up these African centers in areas where Black incarceration are high? Can this be a thing that will help? What's your take on that, Sister Folshad and Brother Walter? Putting these centers in places where our people are affected, have been incarcerated, imprisoned. How much of a help will this be, do you think?
I think it will go a long way. But we want, wherever the center is going to be located, eventually, it's going to be in a close proximity to where our people are, so that they can have access, one, to the programs that the center will provide. I think it would be a great idea to be able to do that. I don't know, Shade, what's your thoughts on that?
I think so. But at the same time, it still depends on what the county is giving out, So I think we don't have much say on that. We can only suggest,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, we got a couple of moments left. I want us to put out the website again for folks who may have just been tuning in. Folks, we've been talking about the opening of the African Cultural Center of Los Angeles. I want y'all to go check out their website at AfricanCulturalCenterLA.com. That's AfricanCulturalCenterLA.com. Brother Walter and Sister Folshad, who are served as the co-founders, they both are very highly respected professionals in their in the spaces that they find themselves, that they're in as well. Brother Walter is co-founder, CEO of WinstonandLee.com. Sister Folshad is the co-founder, CEO of House of Sota and Black History and Lifestyle Awards. So they are doing their respective things, but they decided to bring it all together to create a space where African history can be taught, can be learned, and can be experienced. And we're just so grateful that this space is coming to an opening here in the great city of Los Angeles. Brother Walter, Sister Folshad, I want to thank you both for your work personally, but I thank you for having the the presence of mind to opening up a very, very powerful center like this. And so thank you for doing the work that is so good for the culture, dear family.
I appreciate it, man. We're very, very honored to be a part of this. And we're hoping to do some big things here in LA that will change lives and make a huge difference in our communities.
Absolutely. And look, just let me know, because I would love to be a part of the conversation, love to be a part of the work that is happening here in LA. I want to get my hands dirty. I want to get down to the communities. I want to connect the dots. Use me, brother. Sister, use me. Use me.
We will, man. We will. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Y'all. Thank y'all so much. All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, I'm going to share with you some of the latest trending things that are happening right now. So stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, welcome back to the show. In the final few minutes, I wanted to bring to your attention something that everybody has been talking about, which is microblogging, i.e., aka the new app that's gotten everybody excited about getting back into real-time conversations. Talking about that new app coming from Meta, the company that owns Facebook and Instagram. They have officially launched a new app called Threads, which is, according to their statement, which is intended to offer a space for real-time conversations online. And this is considered to be a viable rival to Twitter. We all know what happened with Twitter. It came from the hands of Jack Dorsey, who was the founder of Twitter, and his folks, to now getting into the hands of Elon Musk and his folks. And now this new app that is on the scene, Threads, is Mark Zuckerberg's attempt to capture the market, and at the same time to get back into a space where it's trying to create another town hall type of forum online. Well, people said this might be something worth taking a look at, worth investing in. The app, since launching, has already received 30 million signups as of this morning. 30 million signups already. This is according to Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. He said this on his verified Threads account. Do you have a Threads account? Any one of you got a Threads account? I was thinking about taking a look at it, so I haven't jumped on yet. But according to Zuckerberg, he said the vision for Threads is to create an option and friendly public space for conversation. He said, we hope to take what Instagram does best and create a new experience around text, ideas, and discussing what's on your mind. He also responded to posts and shared his thoughts on whether Threads will ever be bigger than Twitter. He said, quote, it'll take some time, but I think there should be a public conversation app with 1 billion people on it, 1 billion plus people on it. Twitter has had the opportunity to do this, but hasn't nailed it. Ouch. Hopefully, we will. threads. Are you going to be threading? Now, just as much as there's some excitement and some buzz around threads, folks, there's also another app that is going to try to capture real-life conversations, real-time conversations, but it's more targeted to Black app users, called Spill. Now, I've been looking at Spill over the past day or so. I've been reading about it, seeing a couple other folks. I know there's a sign-up, a waiting list for it. I signed up. I'm waiting to get a number. If y'all haven't heard Spill, you have to. It's a space where Black folks can have these same type of conversations that we've been having on Twitter and in other spaces. But it's really a platform, an app that was developed by two Black men who used to work at Twitter, who, when they first met, were the only two Black men in the room at the time during their orientation. And so they decided to build a friendship, and out of the friendship came this new app called Spill. As you can see, it's a visual conversation at the speed of culture. So this is getting some buzz, as I've been reading that some Black celebrities have decided to start to slowly make their way over to the new platform. And I don't know, crew, if any one of you have decided to do Spill or not, but I know that there's still fan base. So there's a couple of different apps out there outside of Twitter that is trying to capture the market on getting people to start chatting in a very safe space. Threads has said that they want, that's the space they wanted to create. Spill is another alternative, but we're going to have more conversation. I got to do some more research on what Spill is going to do, how they're planning to launch out, and everything. But let me just say it to the brothers, to the sisters behind Spill. Y'all need to come to Black Star Network. Y'all need to do that. Y'all need to make yourselves available for conversation, because this could potentially, and again, there's so many people, everybody can eat. But this needs to be discussed. This needs to be seen and experienced in a very, very big way. So if for anybody that's watching this and you're a part of the Spill team, come on through to Black Star Network. It don't matter what show you want. I don't care. It could be The Culture. It could be Roland Martin Unfiltered. Hell, it could be Get Wealthy. It could be on the Pivot with my sister Tech Life Steph. It could be any show. It could be The Frequency with D Bonds. I don't care. Just come on to Black Star Network and spill a tea on Black Star first before you go to some of those other media platforms. So that is out there. So we're going to keep our eyes on that as well. So social media, how we have these conversations is changing dramatically, folks. But Threads is definitely seen as the next big thing in the tech world, as Threads is going to rival Twitter. And if you can hear Mark Zuckerberg say, a billion plus people he wants to have on this platform. Wow. We will have to see. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. I thank each and every one of you. I thank my dynamic guests. I thank my dynamic production team, Shannon, King Keenan, Joel. Thank all the folks that are tuned that make this show possible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Folks, make sure you do your due diligence. Continue to support us here at Black Star Network. Go to blackstarnetwork.com today. Download the app for free. And more importantly, give something to help us continue to do the great work that we have been doing, which is providing a space for Black conversation, a space for relevant discussions about our culture and everything that's happening within it. So go to Black Star Network today and download the app for free on all of your devices. Also follow us on social media at Black Star Network on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And we would love to have your support. You can also check us out at Amazon News, where we're broadcasting live. We are streaming live 24/7 on Amazon News. Just say, Alexa, play news from Black Star Network. And bingo, my pretty face pops up. But no, real talk, definitely support us. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me. I thank each and every one of you, my crew. Stay tuned. Up next is Roland Martin Unfiltered. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right. while being yourself in the process. God willing, we will talk tomorrow for another exciting edition of The Culture. Follow me on all social media, and I would love to connect with you as we build the community. Talk to you tomorrow. Until then, stay Black. Continue to do the great work that you're doing, and most importantly, support Black Star Network. Talk to you soon. Peace.